5 men are under arrest after the FBI thwarted what it says was a plot to attack Sunday's Ultimate Fighting Championship event at the White House. Federal prosecutors released these text messages in which the group members appear to have plans to spark a panic by attacking nearby buildings with explosive drones, then using sniper rifles to fire at the fleeing crowd. They then allegedly planned a second wave to storm the White House itself, targeting the president, the vice president, and other, quote, high-value targets. The FBI says the alleged plotters hope to, quote, jumpstart a revolution. The men aged between 19 and 32 were arrested across 4 U.S. states. The FBI says the alleged plot was uncovered by one of the men's mothers after she saw concerning messages that he posted in an online group claiming to be made up of Christian U.S. military veterans. Joining us now live for more is Jason Pack. He's a retired FBI supervisory special agent. How do you assess this news that we're hearing here? 5 suspects have been arrested now across 4 states: California, Missouri, Nebraska, and Ohio.
Carl, it's quite the plot, doesn't it? It reads, if you read the affidavits, it reads like something out of a movie of some kind. But the FBI, the United States Secret Service, their Protective Intelligence Division, got word from this parent just 40 or 96 hours ago now or more, and now these 5 people are already in custody. So what we've seen over these past several days was some really quick work by things that take an awful lot of diligence, and that includes investigating, making sure these things are right. They've been able to develop probable cause to get these complaints because they've seen these overt acts that the subjects, the purported head of the snake of this group, have done, including those text messages you had seen in the story earlier. They also did some firearms training. They executed some search warrants at some of their properties and found some weapons, as we've seen. So yeah, they're talking about it, which is one thing. They have this ideology, but what we've seen here is apparently this ideology, Carl, has moved into a planning phase, and these overt acts, I think, are what got these conspiracy charges for murder and for attempted the government officials that they were trying to kill.
How do you look at right now the threat level, given the recent assassination attempts against Donald Trump that we mentioned before? Of course, the shooting recently at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And how does this moment, do you think, compare to maybe past administrations? Is this a higher level of threat than we've seen before?
Well, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Clearly, there's hate, a lot more hate in the world today, at least hate that we see more of on all sides, and that's certainly true of what we've seen today, what we saw at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and all the hate that goes on out there. The Secret Service's Protective Intelligence Division, they're like juggling chainsaws with the threats that come in, the decisions they have to make. That's why they partner with agencies like the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force. That's what the model that we saw here. That's just the start of it, Carl. This was the UFC 250 fight. There's the World Cup is in the country. There's a lot of different things to protect. So this threat level has to be reviewed almost by an hour-by-hour basis to make sure that they're not going to miss anything. And I think they have capable people doing it, but there's a lot of work to do.
Does this sound to you like a potential domestic terrorism plot? We talk a lot, of course, about terrorism coming from outside the country, but what does this say about the threat from within?
Well, I think they need to investigate a little more. Right now, what they've done is disrupted this plot. So as the investigation continues, it's far from over. They've disrupted the leadership of this, Carl, but now they're looking at these screen names in these chat groups, and they're trying to identify the 24 other so or more people. I have been told that there's at least one person not in the United States that they're looking to find out who it is. So as the investigation continues, we'll be able to determine if it's domestic terrorism or international terrorism. Seems more like domestic right now based on the facts that we know. Probably will be this so-called accelerationism, where people are looking to accelerate the end of our country and just sow chaos. Seems to be what this one was about.
Jason, just briefly, if you don't mind, I wanted to ask you about the alleged methods that were apparently being planned here, including using drones. How prepared do you think the U.S. is for a situation where drones could be used with explosives and this kind of plot?
Well, I think it depends on what kind of drone. There's some protections that drone companies put in their software to prevent drones from flying where they shouldn't. So those types of things. But we have seen in the war theaters these a swarm of drones that come in. So that's something to be concerned about. I think the U.S. is a little bit more ahead than people might like to admit. So, but there's still a significant and real threat for these things, and I think that's something that intelligence people who collect that will be looking at in the next few days and years.
Jason Pack, thank you as always.
Thanks, sir.